Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's really, really exciting to see you all here and to have pulled together a little bit of an idea I had about sharing love stories. I absolutely appreciate that everybody has a story to tell, and each of you have a unique story, and also that it's shaped not just by your prior experience, but also uh, by whoever it is that is the other half in that love story that you have. So I would like to thank the other person who may or may not be here for whatever you might feel like sharing tonight for this event. It's really great to have you all here. So first up, I'm going to share with you a quote from my life book, which is "Love is a friendship caught on fire." And that is apparently from Northern Exposure. And I resonated with that quote when I first read it, because I honestly feel that every love story should come from, or generally comes from, there's a place of a friendship, a connection that is meaningful before or within that relationship. So I have a hunch that yeah, if what's going to be shared today will also relate to a bit of a friendship, that real amicable connection that comes through in the stories. Okay, so let's dive in and yeah, learn a little bit about your stories. So to start us off, I would love to hear from okay, can I get you to respond first, Maria, perhaps? Well,
Okay, yeah, go.
Maria is happy to share a little bit of her story with us. So perhaps my first question is about, how did your lifebook journey start shifting things as far as what comes to love and relationships? So it's about your beliefs, your values. What shifted for you through the lifebook experience in relationship to love? So yeah, if you could share a little bit, Maria, that would be wonderful.
Tough question. It's a tough question, but I think usually we definitely know what we don't want in a relationship. Once when we finished one and we try to start a new one, or we are single and try to start a new one, and then we definitely know what we don't want in our life. And then we start creating our checklist, what we want. And for some, the checklist is small. For them, it's pages. And I had my checklist too, so I think it was kind of medium size. But with Livebook, I realized that it's all about me. It's not what I'm looking for, what this person, this man has to have, or how to show up. It's more than what I can put on the table. What do I want? What is my vision in life? How what are my emotions about this? What I want to experience in feelings and emotions, and what kind of vision do I have? So it all starts about me. I think this is my greatest experience doing Livebook, that I have to finish my stuff first and to know who I am, and then I can go outside and can look, okay, who fits to these visions, my missions, my values, what I'm looking for. But it always has to start with myself first.
I love that, Maria. Yes, it is very much not just starting with yourself as far as what your understanding of what love is and what you're looking for, but I guess also ensuring that you love yourself first. That's the first relationship, isn't it, with yourself? So getting that straightened first is good. I mean, Michael, would you like to share? I know I kind of invited you here as a kind of a panelist that was happy to share. Are you comfortable to share on this question at this point?
Absolutely. So yeah, the kind of how Lifebook influenced my love relationship, it did a lot of things. One was that it reminded me that it requires work, that it's not something that is, I mean, it can feel easy, but it's one of the things that someone said a long time ago, is that in a relationship, either you are working to grow together or you're falling apart. So, and it just kind of brings forth some of those pieces, but it also was a great example of what connection rituals can look like. which is something that I didn't really have in the past, and certainly not something that was consistent either. But I think that one of the biggest things about kind of putting all this stuff on page and actually describing it is it gave me a space to brag about my relationship. And not just, because this is what I'm bringing, yes, and how amazing my partner is and how we connect. But it also kind of allowed me to show my wife what I thought of our relationship and kind of putting it out there in visual and in words at the same time. So it was a good place to share that kind of information, which brought us a lot closer together.
That's a cool thing about putting it on paper, that you actually really bring stuff to mind. It brings to mind, and I'm not sure whether the numbers was 27 or 40, but John shared the 27, for instance, things I love about Missy. And I remember doing that exercise and in my own relationship, and just it actually wasn't as hard as I thought it might be, because you get to 10, you get to 20, but it's actually, if this is real, there's so many little things you can come back to and add about the lovely person who is in your life as he goes off out the door. Cool. Okay, I know Toots is busy at work, but listening in. If Kinga or Stahu, if you have something to share, you're most welcome to jump in.
Hi
Yes.
guys, can you hear us? Yeah, cool.
Yes.
I'm still under such a strong, impression of the yesterday's love call with John and Missy. And Maddie yourself, like we met you with your partner, and you were like just like a couple in love, like really just traveling together, and then you get back home and get engaged and then get married during your travels. You're such a wonderful example of that fresh energy, and it's for us it's very inspirational. Yeah. And what John and Missy said yesterday about being together, like 100% like committed and dedicated to the relationship, that I could say that 100% Lifebook helped me with that, to actually reclaim that juicy relationship that we initially had. And then I have a feeling I kind of like missed it, like on the way, like the life got a bit took over some of my attention. So I was very distracted, I would say. So I didn't nourish our relationship the way it deserves it. And Lifebook really helped me to reclaim that, really redirect me back to that commitment towards our relationship. That was the most important, I think, part of it.
Yeah, and it's a process, right? We started Lifebook in 2019, and then we realized, oh my God, we're living in an opposite energy. I was living in the masculine most of the time. Stahu was a lot in his feminine, making babies and raising, the nest, building the nest and loving art. And then it was great, but then we realized we need to find and discover that other side of ourselves to be whole. And that was the whole shifting of me into feminine, Stahu into masculine. And that's, I feel for me, it really started connecting to my intuition and to my feminine and to the creative side of things. And I reclaimed my dancing activity after 20 years of not being on the dance floor. I started dancing again. And Stahu started being, more of a in the front row, like leading our endeavors, but also being very clear and firm in his communication, which I needed. I just like to be where I'm at. I like the structure, and I love to feel it with my feminine substance. Yeah. So that was very, very cute and sweet. The transition time was very funny. We had, our weeklies, and on Sunday we would sit together and stuff. Who had this goal of nurturing the flame of love, and he would ask me in this very soft, beautiful tone, like, "Darling, am I nurturing my flame of love to you every day enough?" And then he started working on that tone even more and started being softer in communication and so on and so on.
It was very clunky in the beginning, but
Yeah.
at,
But
at
we
least
tried,
we
like
showed up.
Michael
Yeah?
said,
That was important.
we were putting the efforts and taking action. And I remember once I was leaving my dance studio, like whole red and sweaty, and he said, "Darling, if you're going to stop being a dancer, I'm gonna divorce you."
Yeah.
He put it also very clearly that, speaking of molding the energies from John and Missy yesterday and our preference, yeah, we knew we madly loved each other, but after years and years of being together, we're together 16 years nearly, we have preferences and we have these sparkles that we love about each other, yeah, and this is where we can really embody and crave the excitement coming up to the surface of the relationship. So this is where I'm at. I love to be excited. I'm chasing the excitement in my body, and I am just super proud of Stahu, of how he holds up the structure and allows me to be a little mad sometimes, a little insane, and sometimes just fragile and delicate, and just, the cycle, I guess, of being a woman, of death and reborn. And that's where we're at.
But I like that Kinga is coming up with very bold ideas, like really, like we compared it even to Missy actually reaching out to Mind Valley. That the impulse went from her, like to Vision, and it's the same with Kinga. She comes up with some crazy idea, and I'm like, all right, so I'm here
He's
for you.
executing.
I'm here for you. I can make it work in the most like magical way. That's my role in that. And we just realized even before yesterday's call that it was always like that since we met. Yeah, that
Mm.
you had some crazy idea, and I had like a life
I wouldn't
skills and
I wouldn't do any of that alone. Yeah.
execute on that,
Exactly.
and we just now exaggerate that polarization and that roles even more, and we try to do it deliberately. Yeah, and really Lifebook help us with that, like to see where it is and how it's connected. So yeah,
Mm.
Wow,
that will be
that's
that.
beautiful. That is so beautiful, and there's so many angles you've taken there that I'd love to go down and can relate to. And yeah, seeing that lovely energy, Kinga, of moving into that space of the feminine energy alongside the masculine. It's yeah, really lovely to hear and to see where you're at there. That's
You're a dancer
very
too.
cool.
I really resonate with, that journey of
Yes,
yours, and you know how it is to embody that energy. Yeah, you at some point you
yes,
feel it in the body, and it's so much more to be on the quest to find the feminine gems, right? And to be able to
yeah.
then say what we desire, because I didn't know before. Yeah, I was taking it all from the logical side, and now I can, at least merge the both hemispheres.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I never considered myself a dancer. And it was probably well into my adult life in my 40s before I decided to give dancing a go and yeah, start to generate some of that feminine energy over and above being a mum,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
certainly involved that a lot. So yeah, no, that's
it's
thank
beautiful. I
you.
love that flourishing. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, so at this point, I'll just share a little bit of my answer to how Lifebook Journey started shifting things for me. It was actually about 3 years ago when life was really busy. After I'd been through the Lifebook process and Greg and I were in our relationship, I took the love relationship monthly self-assessment, and this is not something I've done regularly with each category every month, but I decided to go through it this time, and I went through it with Greg, and that was really interesting answering the questions. And some of the questions we just laughed and brushed them off because they didn't really resonate for us. And then there were questions where yes, yeah, I feel that way too. And then there were other questions where there was a little bit of good conversation happened because we were looking at something and actually learning something about the other partner that we didn't know already, and trying to see where things fitted. And I found that really powerful. And I think that was a little bit of the start of the year where we together started to get clear on what our life vision looked like for the coming years. And about simplifying our home situation and actually focusing attention more on each other, because we had got busy. We'd been together for, I don't know, 8 years at that point.
Let's see if she's able to connect again. But I think it's even, with our love stories, it's so, I think it's really the truth about Lifebook that we are able to be ourselves and then have things that we know it's a hard work, what you said, Michael, because it's true. You have every day you need to step up and you need to decide again how I want to show up in the relationship and what kind of person I want to be or I want to become. Depends. And I think this is so valuable for me. This is one of the greatest gifts what Lifebook
Maria,
is doing for me.
is that correct? If I remember correctly, that you moved overseas for your loved ones?
Yeah, yes. I got married last year in December, and after 4 rough years having a long distance relationship, so we finally had the decision. Okay, now it's time to move together, and so I moved from Germany to the US. And it was a different experience because when you have for such a long time a long distance relationship and then once you really be together for 24/7, and it starts completely new, and though it's more important ever to be focused on Lifebook and your vision together and how you want to show up and what kind of vision you have together and how you get your vision into reality, what these little steps can do every day, what you shared, or what you can do to nurture it and to make it happen and to get the
Yeah,
sparkles, keep them
to
alive.
have to slowly build it into steaming hot relationship like John and Missy.
Yeah.
Tend to inspire us from the really high perspective. Yesterday they spent, I'm not sure if you went, you were in the call, but
No.
that's Michael, you've been there. They spent a couple of hours being heart to heart with each other every day. And that was quite shocking for me, like that this still like at this, people of that busy life can really carve out a few hours a day just to be physically present with each other. It's cosmic example. It's hard to imagine and achieve, but it's good to have them kind of inspiring with that ridiculous examples. Yeah.
I would certainly say that I like their example. It's a good example of where you can be. I know that at least in my relationship, it's a little bit different. They're very, very dependent on each other, which I appreciate that relationships work really well that way. My approach has always been that I bring the best version of myself to my relationship. And that's one of the things that I kind of, as we were looking at this is at least that's my approach. And that doesn't mean that I don't break down in front of my wife. That doesn't mean I don't share what's going on with me, but I do my best to take care of a majority of my stuff so I'm fully present when I'm with her. And
Okay.
we have things we need to talk about. We bring that from this place of love rather than from anger or upset or frustration as much as possible. So, and that to me is one of those foundational pieces that we bring for ours, and that it has exploded for both of us in so many different ways. So it's been fun.
So what do you guys do when you have a little tension or there is some conflict arising and you're not completely in agreement? Do you have any tools, any solutions, any game that works for you?
So what I tend to do, like, especially if there seems to be some sort of misunderstanding, at least for me, is I do a lot of reflective speaking. Is what I heard you say was this, is that correct? Because so many times whenever there is conflict, it's because there's a misunderstanding. And it's one of the things that I think even in our event series, we talk a fair amount about is the word love means so many different things to different people. So getting on the same page about what that word means to you, that sort of thing. And when you mentioned this event, this is the details I remember, but you seem really upset about that. What did I miss? So coming from this place of curiosity rather than from blame, or it's more a matter of, it's even one of the quotes in my life book as well, is that love is whenever you actually want the best for someone else more than you want for yourself. So if I can come
Yeah.
from that place, it tends to disarm a lot of those situations.
And I
Mm.
really think the beauty is that you, as far as I can speak for myself, I can let him be like the person he is. And when he is angry and he shows his emotions, he can be that way and it's completely fine. And I can be this too. So I can, if I'm angry about something, I can say that without being afraid, oh my God, tomorrow we get divorced. Because I said something was just coming, deep from my heart and I'm just upset about, something. But at the same time, we are able to give space and we know we have this solid foundation of love that but doesn't matter what happens, we love each other. Like you said, it's not questioning. We don't question our love. It doesn't matter what happens up and what show up in life and what kind of struggles we have. We know we love each other. It's a commitment what we made, and it's not a commitment what we made because we got married. It's so way beyond marriage and being, sign up for some papers. It's we just say we go through everything what's coming up and we go to bed not being angry with each other, for example, because you ask for before some example, we decide, okay, we give a kiss before somebody leaves the house and is coming back, because it doesn't matter if even when we have fights or arguing or discussions, we know we love each other and
Mm.
everything is allowed to show up in this moment.
I
Yes.
love that, Maria, and thank you so much for being yeah, so open with that. Um, it's like John and Missy said, you're all in. It doesn't matter what
Mhm.
all those arguments, those disagreements, it doesn't matter what moments come up as long as you keep in that process of being all in. Um,
Yeah.
I yeah, I really appreciate that.
Because,
And
I
thank you
cannot
everyone. Yeah.
one thing I cannot expect from my partner that he's giving all in if I don't do this. And it doesn't matter what the outcome might be. And even when, I don't know, maybe one day we said, okay, it's not working anymore because of, I don't know. But I can, it doesn't hurt me because I gave all in at that time. I gave my best. And this is how I want to show up. I really want to put all myself on the table and I want to show up. And this is something, of course, what he's doing too, because we want to make it happen.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And just a moment of gratitude for the Lifebook community and the fact that when my internet dropped out, my power went off briefly, and my laptop absolutely, even though the power came back on, my laptop refused to reconnect to the internet. Um, the event continues. So thank you for that. Thank you. So now, having obviously you've heard a little bit from Michael and from Maria and possibly other people in the 5 or 10 minutes I was away, who would like to actually share their story about how you either met or reconnected with your partner?
I'm willing to go for that. So for my wife and I, we actually met first in 2006, and we were actually dating very casually. And at that time, the relationship didn't work for us, and we ended up going our separate ways. We both got married and divorced from crazy veteran people, and got divorced like 2 weeks from within each other, even though we weren't really like talking very often. And that was literally 10 years later. But when we got together, we had a meal together and the sparks were actually still there. So, and with that, it was great that there was that chemistry, but at least for me, there was also stuff that I felt like had to share so that she knew what she was getting into. And I kind of bared my soul from the get-go when we reconnected. And that kind of set the tone for where the relationship has gone since then, because it's like everything's on the table. That idea of being all in, yes, is there. But if I'm willing to be honest with my darkest secrets with her, and she's willing to do the same for me, that just made everything else possible. So, kind of as we progressed through our relationship, we were living in two different places, about an hour and a half or so from each other. So not quite across an ocean like you were, Maria, but certainly we weren't in the same space for a very long time, for a few years actually. And in the middle there is whenever I did my life book and kind of described what I wanted from a relationship and the layers of connection. And so we ended up setting up those connection rituals where we talk voice at least 5 minutes every day, no matter where we are in the world. And that started while we were living in different households. And that's not a text message. That isn't a video recording. The idea is that you actually talk. And that still holds to today, is that no matter where I am in the world or where she's traveling to, we ensure that that happens. And then we also do a monthly surprise date night and we swap each month. So all I'm told is, what do I need to be wearing when I go there, in essence, and vice versa. And that's also similarly kind of brought the surprise and the anticipation and understanding kind of that this is going to be something that's fun. And one way that the life book kind of played into this was I keep track of the things that we've done for date night. I personally do have a physical life book, but I also put it in Notion. That's the space where I keep all this. And I've got a gallery of all the things that we've been doing for the last 5 years now, with notes about what we did and the comments that we made and the pictures of us having fun and smiling. It is like a digital scrapbook for me. And that is really kind of what has re-solidified this, so that we make sure that we take good pictures. We remember what happened. It's like, okay, where were we in January? I can go back and look. Oh yeah, that, and I can bring that back up. So we track our adventures as well. That's another component of the Lifebook program as a whole that I like, is it's not just one and done. Is you also say you're going to do something, and then you actually are held accountable to do it. If that's to yourself, or that's to your partner, or that's to a group. And just making that connection. And it got to the point where I was talking about it so often, and having this love relationship category really spelled out like I did. It was what made her interested in doing her own. That did take a couple of years for her to get to that point, because it wasn't really in her wheelhouse. She certainly enjoys personal development to some degree, but it was because of the heightened level of awareness that I brought into the relationship, honoring who she was, but she also knew where I was coming from. So that essentially is, in a nutshell, our life book journey through.
Beautiful, Michael. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. And it's lovely to hear how, just a friendship, a connection doesn't go away, that sometimes you'll come back to that, and you'll come back as different people, but still the same heart that comes together. That's very cool. So Maria, I think you probably hadn't had a chance. You haven't shared your story yet. Would you like to share your story now?
Yeah, I talked a little bit before. Yeah, so actually, my husband, we were married separately, not with each other. So we had both marriages before for a long time. So I was married for more than 25 years and got divorced. And so he's the same. And I live in Germany. He lived in the US. So, and then after my divorce, I said, okay, now I don't need any man right in my life. I just need, be focused on myself and take care of me first and of the kid. And then I said, oh my God, it's nice, to go on the dating and start doing this again and throw myself out of the market and see, what's available outside. And so I had a great experience for a while there, and I enjoyed this. It feels sometimes like being a little girl in a candy shop and don't know, what to grab first. And it was nice, but then I did my life book and I said, is this really what I want in my life? Is this really, just going there and grabbing there and having this experience and doing this and trying this out? And then I said, nah, I just really be more focused and write really my vision and what I want, and I defined my strategy. So I decided, okay, let's try it's online dating. So I went it online. First day, one day, and somehow he showed up. And then I said, oh my God, maybe it's not a good idea. So I signed up again. But we exchanged phone numbers at that time already, and we started talking. And so he said, oh, it's nice. And actually, it was the time when COVID shows up. So we were not allowed to travel for a very long time. But somehow we liked what we shared, each other at that time. And like Michael said, I don't know when, but I think it happened pretty quickly that we started talking face to face, even, from the distance every single day, at least once. And because of the time difference, so we tried it before he got to work and when I got up. So we tried to talk at least once or twice a day. And sometimes just for 5 minutes to check, hey, how you're doing? What's your day around? And sometimes for hours. It depends, how much time we had available. And this keeps us going on track, even we were not able to see each other physically for a very long time because of COVID and this travel restrictions. And then finally, he came to Germany, so we met first, and of course everything was new and exciting and all these kind of things. And then I traveled to the US, and so we had this exchange, and he stayed there for months, and I was there for 6 weeks, and so keep on going for the years. And then of course, I shared my life book, my vision with him. This was actually the first category I shared with him because it was so important for me that we have one vision together. At least, I have my vision and I wanted to see how much it resonates with him. So to find, could this really work with us? And then, so we did this together and had, okay, what do you want? What we want as a couple to have in a relationship. And then we said to continuing doing this, and we decided, okay, let's do more. And then I decided, okay, it's time to move to the US. Last year November, and in November, beginning of December, we got married. I think it was pretty close when you got married, so I think it was probably in the same week. And we not had a big celebration at that time because we need to figure out a few things first. And we want to buy a new house, so we were waiting for having the big celebration. But yeah, we made it, and I said before, of course, being together, then it's 24/7. It's a new challenge. It's a completely new beginning, and you need to your how your strategies, what to do because we have date nights too, and we need this physical contact every day. And we have our date nights, not regularly right now. It always depends, but we really need to express our love every single day in so different ways. And just one thing at the beginning, I said once, you know what? I wish you would give me flowers, so now and then. So this is nice. I would love to have. And he said, you know what? I'm not this kind of sending, or buying you flowers, something. I show my love in a different way. So because I make you breakfast, every single day, or I do something for you in this way. And this is the way how I show up and how I take care of you. And this is how much I love you. And this is something, yeah, right. He doesn't has to show up like I think it should be like, love expresses in so many different ways. And I can let him show his love language to me, what he wants to show in this ways. And this is so beautiful to discover each other, and think how we match and what we can do together.
Oh, yeah, love languages. Yeah, Maria, that's a real trigger of an important thing to be aware of about our partners. Yeah, for us. And that's actually, yeah, there's a thought that's come from that for me based on the call with John and Missy last night, and realizing that about showing up in a way that values our partners, that our partners can see that we're engaging with what they like, and it's also what we like. I've never been a great shopper, and my husband Greg has always. He does like to. His love language is giving things, buying things, and I realized last night. Thought I'd love to buy some clothes while we're in Greece because I don't often buy new clothes for myself, but to have him be part of that process and have him help me choose the clothes that that I love and he loves as well. So he will be happy seeing me in those clothes and utilizing that love language. So yeah, I'll share a little bit. We've actually been together for I think 13 years now, and we were together for 8 years before we started Lifebook. I just come out of a 20 mumble years relationship. I come out with 4 amazing children and a very negative view of marriage, and a this kind of reaction to the mention of husband or wife. So any time in the next 2 or 3 years, 5 years, Greg brought up the possible idea of marriage, I was kind of just backing off quite a lot. But we've been together a while. We've shared a home. He's helped me raise my son from an 8-year-old to a very competent young man. And we've been through some challenges, as every relationship goes through. 2023 was a challenging year for us. Greg had a mild stroke. He struggled to get back to work. He also he lost his sister, and in fact, today it's 2 years today since his sister passed away, and we're with our brother-in-law, and we've been spending time with him and working through today the fact that he's got a lovely lady in his life again, and he's struggling with the fact that he's still trying to be ready to let go. 2 years on, it's still really hard for him. So it's been really quite important for us to be there for him and go over some of the wonderful things and parts of their relationship, but also validate the fact that he's ready to move on now, which is kind of important. So for Greg and I, 2023 was hard, but we also had made up our minds that it was time to start moving into our life vision and divesting ourselves of the weight of a large home and property and seeing what our life vision would be like with doing the traveling. So that brought us to last year, September, Portugal, a Lifebook retreat with Kinga and Sahu together, which was a big step for Greg to come and join in a Lifebook event. October, Morocco, on the beach, a proposal out of nowhere. I was not expecting it. And obviously I'd shifted by this time and was very open to the idea. November, Madrid, purchasing engagement rings and actually really engaging in the whole process. December, Greg's idea, we had the wedding in my daughter's garden. We had just my family, his family, some very select friends, a very small in this summer solstice event for New Zealand, and yeah, ready to step into our new adventure together as a married couple, which has been pretty special. And it's still, though, it's a process, it's a journey. We have not, oh, we've nailed this, oh, we've got the perfect relationship. There is nothing like that. There has, with the ongoing communication, that we're together and we can communicate and we can absolutely love being just the two of us together, but we can also navigate sharing our space with a loved brother-in-law for 2 weeks, which I have to say has been a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, it has helped us actually communicate and realize what we value together with him. So yeah, that's I guess that's my love story. Would anyone else like to share? Kinga or Michelle, have you got anything to share about your love story?
I can always share if Michelle, you're not up for it. But maybe someone new. No story
Okay.
right
Well,
now.
cool, Michelle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sending you love vibes from ourselves, and it's just magic, it's appearing before you know it. It's listening to Lifebook life stories works like a charm. Yeah, well, it's just so helpful to listen to your high standards, beautiful couples and beautiful people, and John and Mrs. and you guys. It's just immersing oneself and picking what works for you, what turns you on. It's just a magic spell, right, for that category. And there's no way out, and it just goes deeper and deeper, and there's layer after layer after layer. So for us, it really was like that unending love exploration, I would say. Um, yeah, Lifebook just brought this lens, just brought the spotlight on that category. So after investigating our feminine and masculine sides separately and knowing what tickles us and what we fancy in those areas, we started looking at the relationship as almost as if it was the third entity between us, and nurturing it and spoiling it, and caressing it from different angles, and shaping it in a playful way, in a very romantic, playful, exciting way. So for me, it's really the fact that we are, first of all, I can be all shades of colors in front of Stahu, and I know he's standing by my side and he's holding the structure, and I can be, one day I'm a lady and another day I'm a pirate, or I'm a witch, or whatever that is. I can totally count for his respect and for him being just by my side. That's one of the exciting things that I love to, as we all women, I guess, we're bringing many hats, many faces. We're mothers and lovers and friends and whoever knows, not like 30 personalities every day. And I think it's kind of igniting the flame between us, and it's helping us to really add lots of flavors and beautiful spices to that recipe. And another thing, like a huge pillar, is the commitment to growth. It's definitely that he signed up for this ride with me. Whether he knew it back then or it was just seeded with a good seed and water with a lot of love showers, but at some point Lifebook put a mark on it that we just committed. Okay, we're perpetually growing, we're in a gallop, and we are reinventing ourselves again and again and again, and we are charging this relationship, that third entity, with love force, simply. Yeah, like this golden dripping love force, the highest force of the universe, and that's just unending source of joy and of of creativity also, right? Because that's what the love force is. If we're not making babies, and we're done with two, we're making projects and we're making adventures. And like Michael Beautiful shared, he's taking his wife on secret escapes, or she's taking him for detective dinner. I don't even know what that means, but it's just, guys, life is short, and it's a game. It's full of beautiful, juicy fun, and it's just, love is charging any other area of growth for us, any other category of life. And I guess it's a smooth transition to the category 13 that sooner or later we all have to brush against, and at least from the surface start unfolding and uncovering the cards of the sexual energy. This has been a deep exploration for us with Stahu since we had the babies, and we really needed to fight for the time just for the two of us, and to having this protocol that's themed Unreal. It's now resulting in once a week we have the whole day to each other. So even though we are homeschooling, we have a project only on Monday and Tuesday for the kids, just because we need it. We don't need them to be in any kind of institution, but we need that one time a week, and it's sacred, and then it's really it's really ours, and it's very reliable. Yeah, because we have tried with all sorts of nannies and mamas and so on, but very often it didn't resonate so much on a regular base. Like my mom, for instance, she was very surprised we were going on a date, she's from the older generation. She's now approaching 80, and for her it's you're already married, you don't need to date. So it's a very intriguing subject. Of course, she's happy to come over and help with kids, but um, we felt like little kids when we were, asking for our moms to help us sneak out for a date. And now it's really dialed in. Yeah, now it's really a process, and then we dove into the sexual life, and we learned so much about all sorts of tantric energies and Taoism, and so on. It's very exciting, and it definitely brought us together and created some sort of magic, and it's one of our favorite days. Like, it became one of the coaches we had spoke about 3-hour sex date, and it was hard to imagine, like, what do you mean 3 hours? Like, really, we can do 3 hours a date for a date, but sex? And she specifically insisted it's in bed, and yes, it's physical, and yes, it's just two of you, not on your phones, but just skin to skin, body next to body. And truly, it's been 2 years that we've been exploring it, and sex life has never been that satisfying as it is now, and it's just getting better and better. So there is something about this sex magic that John and Missy are sharing, and I just can't wait to become older and wiser in that science.
Thanks so much for sharing about that, Kinga. And I think that is leads quite well into the idea of challenges and bumps that we have along the way. And yeah, that is a challenge, that to keep that magic alive, and that sex magic is part of it. I think, yeah, for me, there's a little bit of an element of that even recently I've realized that if I don't allow Greg to get to provide some of that masculine structure and support for me, and then it's really hard for me to stay in my feminine energy, whether it's related to sex or communication. And just the other day, I realized that while I've always appreciated that he he always wants to walk on the outside of the pavement to keep me safe on the inside, and I've kind of appreciated that, but I don't always remember that that's my place. I was getting annoyed about the fact that when we were walking, like on slippery rocks or tricky stairs, that he'd keep saying, "Be careful, watch your step here, that step's a bit slippery," and thinking, I don't say that to him, why does he have to try and protect me like this? And then this is him looking after me. I'm so lucky. I'm so fortunate to have somebody who wants to look after me. And I've gone from that to actually moving past that, starting to get aggravated, to actually appreciating that I have a real man in my life, which I absolutely love. Yeah. Yeah.
This is
So yes, we are getting close to time. If somebody else does want to share a little bit about a challenges or bumps in their relationship, where perhaps things have been a little bit rocky, or there's been little incidents that you've had to work through, really most welcome to now. And then we'll move into sort of closing the event in about 5 or 6 minutes.
I mean, what I can share is a little bit, because usually, when we are older, I'm 59 now, so, and we had already relationships before, we tend then to, take the old relationships in the new relationship with us. And I started doing this too at the beginning, and then I said, oh God, and because of Lifebook and being aware of my emotions and recognizing the patterns behind this, why I'm doing this at this moment, said, okay, this doesn't belong in my relationship right now. What I have is my beautiful husband, a partner. It's just something what keeps just place it outside. It just doesn't belong to me anymore. And this is really the why I love the life book, because really I go through different categories, and especially emotion and character. It really shows how I want to show up in love and as a partner, and that really can let go what doesn't serve me anymore, what I don't need anymore, and what I don't want anymore to have in my relationship. So I don't want to be in a fear, just that he is mad about something, or that my relationship is not stable enough, or I am not good enough. Because, and what I really love about this now is he says always to me, I don't need you, but I want you every single day. And this is really, I'm melting, when he's saying this. I'm really melting.
Yes, accepting it with the right energy, the fact that that's actually an absolute positive. Yes. Yeah. All right. Any other shares? Okay, well, Michael, yes.
Some of this was actually shared in the chat, and I think that Maria and I are kind of on the same track for this. Is Jenny had been married 3 times before we re-met, and I'd been married twice. So we are kind of from this, we had kids of our own, and it really kind of comes into a blended family. And her statement was, I will never get married again. And it's like, okay. And at that point, it's like, well, I respect the fact that that's where you're at, and I just enjoy spending time with you. So there was never any sort of pressure or otherwise to take the next step, because, well, I mean, I'd done the life book, and it's like, what does that relationship look like? Does it include legal documents? Does it include papers or wearing specific jewelry? No, we just enjoy our spending our time together. But because I think of the work that I'd been doing in Lifebook and otherwise, she realized that this relationship is different than the ones that she'd had in the past, and that baggage that she had from those relationships wasn't here. So she proposed to me at that point. And because I honored the fact that she said, I'm never getting married again. I'm like, okay, fine, I will. And she said this so many times, it's like, I honor the fact that she set the boundary. So she's the only one who could break it. So, and it's interesting when I think some of this comes down to, yes, there's going to be challenges in relationships. And when you're coming from this place, kind of like what Maria said, and actually what Kinga said as well, is there ends up being this third thing, this entity, this thing that's outside of you, which is the relationship, which can survive as long as you're putting energy into it. And each of you being aware of that relationship is this third thing. It's this thing that is more than the two of you separately. And being able to spend time in that space has been really awesome, being aware of that and knowing where I can be the best version of me and bring that to my wife.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's such a good reminder that yeah, that's something more, that a relationship can be something more, that so many people in our world settle and think, okay, this is as good as it gets. But no, actually, there is always a chance to do better and to be with someone where it can be better. I have one more thing as we wrap up to share. Now, this was actually Catalin, another a Lifebook leader, shared with me. She's not able to attend, but she shared. Oops, if I've just lost it here, shared with me her story, and it reminds me very much of what John and Missy say about when you're unsure in a relationship whether to go down the path of making it work, of committing to making it work, or the path of it's time to let it go, that you just go down each road fully. And this is what Catalin did. So I'm going to read her story. She said, not all love stories evolve in staying together. Some evolved in self-remembering. In 2020, after Lifebook, I began consciously working on my marriage. I invested in personal development, communication, therapy, coaching, vulnerability, emotional intelligence, forgiveness, all with one clear goal: to heal and strengthen our relationship. For 4 years, I gave my whole heart and soul. I tried every tool and practice I knew. I carried the emotional weight with dignity, hoping that my growth would inspire us both to reconnect. But sometimes love does not grow back. Sometimes, despite our efforts, two people evolve in different directions. And no matter how much you try, you cannot build a two-person relationship on your own. What I've discovered is that the ultimate form of love is not always about staying and repairing. Sometimes it's about knowing when to let go. I've discovered that loneliness is a great teacher and companion, and it leads to transformation, growth, and letting go. Today marks my 16th wedding anniversary, and fittingly it falls when Love Month is in the Lifebook community. As I reflect on my journey, I feel called to share this, not as a story of heartbreak, but as a different kind of love story. One that speaks of growth, of awakening, and of the quiet strength it takes to let go. Letting go with clarity, letting go with respect, letting go while still holding gratitude for that journey. So this is not a story of failure. This is a story of truth. And in many ways, this is also a story of success. Because success is also when you finally choose yourself, when you stop sacrificing your joy for the illusion of safety, when you realize that the deepest commitment you can ever make is to your own truth. To anyone who feels alone inside a relationship, you're not broken, you're not the only one, and your love story is still sacred, even if it ends differently than you once hoped. With love, Catalin. And yeah, that speaks really well to me that each person here has learned how to choose themselves, and in choosing themselves, they have chosen someone else, or they are choosing to move ahead as the best they can. Just as I chose at the point at which I went down the two different roads and got an absolute pit in my stomach about the thought that if my husband at the time made the changes I was asking for, I would have to stay. And I went down that road and finally had the strength to move on and move into this incredible life vision I have now with my husband, in which case we are still growing so much and still through the process, and being in a position to share love stories with people. It's beautiful. So thank you very much, everyone, for your shares. Yeah, it's meant a lot to me to have you on the call today and to learn a little bit more about you. There's people who I know, who I've connected with a little bit here and there, and to learn a little bit more of your story is quite inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much. It was a true privilege to bathe in those love stories and watching them bubble up. And I can't wait for continuation.
Yeah, you have to do it every year. Okay,
Yeah.
love you all.
Yes.
Mwah.
Yep.
Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.